Hey everybody, welcome back to another Jackson jet setting cruise ship tour. Today I am super excited to be on board the maiden voyage of the Utopia of the Seas, the newest ship from Royal Caribbean sailing out of Port Canaveral. We're going to do a full ship tour in this video just like all the other ship tours on the channel, so if you're into this type of content, if you love cruise ships, please subscribe to the channel, like this video, it really helps me out. We're going to be posting a lot of different content around the Utopia of the Seas over the next few weeks. I'm going to do my normal vlog series, my reviews, also my tips and tricks videos, and kind of what's different here on Utopia of the Seas. Since I have sailed on almost every Oasis class ship, only Harmony of the Seas is the gap in my resume right now. I know kind of what is different about this ship compared to the others, so we're going to do a video just on that. So we're going to get started on the very top deck here. This is going to be deck 18. And it is a part of the suites neighborhood. So there's going to be some entrances to staterooms here on deck 18, as well as the entrance to the suite sun deck. This is an exclusive sun deck just for suite guests, as the name implies. So you're going to have your sun loungers, you're going to have a bar, and then you're going to have a small plunge pool and wading pool kind of situation here. I liked how there was actually shade for that pool too. So it's a really pretty area. It's going to be private just for those suite guests. Now on deck 17, it's also a part of the suite neighborhood, and this is going to be the suite lounge and the coastal kitchen. This is a shared space, so this is going to be the exclusive dining room, breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the suite guests, and then the suite lounge that they can just come and access all day. Deck 16 is going to be the first full public deck on Utopia of the Seas, so we are going to get started right here. Going to go check out Social 100. Social 100 is the teen-only club. It's from 13 to 17 years old. This is the inside portion of the club. There's actually on deck 17 in the forward part of that deck, small area for them, as well as a hot tub, and then a sun deck for everyone on the ship. That wasn't open during my tour, but there's a nice little selfie station over there. I noticed that replaced a vending machine for some like kind of junk food that they had in there on Wonder of the Seas, but lots of connectivity in here, lots of fun for the teens. And outside of Social 100 is going to be a walkway that leads to the sports zone. This is going to be in the aft part of deck 16, and it's going to have a lot of outdoor activities. It's going to have your table tennis, your sports court, zip line, and other things, so we're going to check that out next. You can admire the space art on the wall here. This always changes ship to ship, so it's always cool to see them mixing it up. This is going to be one of the more popular spots on the ship just because there are so many activities jammed into this one zone. So ping pong, I love that I saw this first on Wonder, is that they've kind of enclosed it because it can get windy on the deck and balls fly everywhere. So this kind of contains the balls and also keeps the wind out. So that's really great for the ping pong aficionados that are boarding Utopia of the Seas. The sports court, of course, it's going to have basketball. It's going to have pickleball at some points during the day. Sometimes some volleyball or dodgeball. So that's always going to be a popular spot for sure. Pack your sunscreen on this part of the deck because it does get quite toasty out here. I'm filming this in Port Canaveral and it's about 90 degrees. And so it is quite hot. One of the most famous parts of Royal Caribbean ships, especially the Oasis class ships, is the Flowrider. So this one, much like the Wonder of the Seas, only has one Flowrider. So just keep that in mind if you're a big Flowrider fan. It's going to have about half the capacity of some of the other ships that have two. Over to the left here is the zip line entrance. So this zip lines over the boardwalk, which is many decks below. Really a lot of fun. It's a short zip line ride, but it is free as part of your cruise, so that's a really fun activity. Lines can get a little long, so just try and get there at opening just to avoid a long wait there in the sun. I like how there's some shaded seating area for the Flowrider there, so people can grab a drink and watch people wipe out all day every day, which is great. Over to the left there is the sports desk. This is where you'll sign some waivers for all these activities. These were a little new to me, so some new kind of raised Adirondack chairs there, and then a little footy soccer game that you can plant a drink on the table and play soccer with your feet. That's pretty fun. That was the first time I've seen that on board a Royal Caribbean ship. And this is the start of the Ultimate Abyss, which descends all the way down to deck 6 where the boardwalk is. So that's a pretty crazy slide. It's now the longest dry slide at sea, so that's longer than any of the other ships. And then the Wipeout bar is a classic, but they've added some boozy snow cones and non-alcoholic snow cones, of course. So that's a new iteration that I love about Utopia of the Seas. Everything's kind of iterated upon. Even the Utopia playscape is a little different than the one on Wonder. Wonder premiered this playscape area, so it's great that the kids have a lot of areas to hang out. I know it took the place of a Flowrider, but they do need a lot of space just to have some fun, and I think this one looks even more fun than the one on Wonder. The Wonder one kind of looks a little closed in, and this one just has a lot more slides, and I think some area just to explore for the kiddos. The Aqua Dunes and Mini Golf looks fantastic. This is my first time sailing on a Royal Caribbean ship, really within her first year of sailing, so these mini golf courses can get beat up a little bit, so it's cool to see something looking brand new. Here's another look at the playscape. But the mini golf, saw some scorecards out there, some pencils, things that I think go missing as the cruises roll on here. So nice to be on board a brand new ship, and everything just looks nice and bright before it's been baked in the sun week after week. If you've never been on a Royal Caribbean ship, they'll do different activities throughout the day in different areas. This is one of them. They'll do some mini golf competitions throughout the cruise, so it's always fun to participate in that. I do like that they're starting to switch things up a little bit with their mini golf courses, because as you go on many Royal Caribbean ships like me, you start to notice the similarities more than the differences, and so it's nice to see something new here. Walking into the shade, it's going to be Cantina Fresca, which is going to be the bar situation for El Loco Fresh. You're going to find some great margaritas there, definitely worth checking out. El Loco Fresh is going to be one of the free options on board for you for lunch and dinner, and it's really, really good. I really like the tacos here. They have fresh made tortillas, so it's definitely worth checking out, and it's located pretty close to the pools. We're going to move along and check out the rest of Deck 16. This deck isn't filled in the middle, but it does go all the way around, so there are a lot of things to see, especially above the pools. So this is sort of your sun deck. You're going to have a lot of different chairs. You're going to have some cabanas to rent. These are not free. A little cheaper on those port days, just FYI. But inside here, on the other side of where Social 100 is, naturally is going to be the arcade. I'm going to keep the arcade near the kids, as I like to call it, the kiddie casino. So obviously this is not included in your cruise. You can get some discounts on arcade credits, either through your status with Royal Caribbean or pre-buying. So just look out for those specials on board or before you sail. Headed back outside, we're going to get our first peek at the pools. So this is going to be the starboard side pool. Nice areas to lounge in the sun or even the shade, which I do like. Sometimes people like to have their feet in the water but not be roasted by the sun all day. Then of course you have your pool. Then you have some cabanas here to the right. As I said, these are going to be cheaper during your port days rather than your sea days. These will book up on more popular excursions, and since the Utopia of the Seas is sailing 3 and 4 night itineraries for the foreseeable future aimed at newer cruisers, I'm going to imagine that these are going to sell out a lot, so book those early. Really like this center section. I love the big anchor logo to the right. Makes you realize that you are on the Royal Caribbean Utopia of the Seas, and this thing's truly massive. That thing can be seen from several miles away at sea. I've seen them passing on other ships. And then we're going to get a nice peek here at another pool. This is going to be the beach pool. There are 2 whirlpools on either side. And then you're going to have sort of a faux beach entry. You have those palm trees there. Love the look of the pools though. Really, really nice. We're going to swing back around and check out that center section when we do our loop around on the other side, because it does feature the top floor of the Lime and Coconut. This is our first look at the Perfect Storm water slides. So these are going to be exactly the same as some of the other Oasis class ships. You have what I like to call the toilet bowl water slide, and then you have the 2 racing slides. Those are a lot of fun. Lines get long on sea days, so just keep that in mind if you are into water slides. To the right there is the entrance to the sun deck that I mentioned earlier, so that'll lead up just to some deck chairs, and there's actually some hidden restrooms up there as well. So if you're looking for a restroom, if you're maybe just hanging out here on deck 16, run up those stairs and probably no one knows about it. Heading back inside, there is going to be one restaurant here. This is going to be called Hooked. It's one of my favorite restaurants on board. It's where you can get surf and turf or just surf, but I do love the location. It's in the solarium itself, overlooking it. I just think it's a really peaceful spot. It's got lots of natural light, something that I think these Oasis class ships need a little bit more of. So this is a great spot to grab an early dinner as you sail away from port. That's kind of like what I like to do, I guess, on my Oasis class sailings. So it is a really beautiful restaurant, and it overlooks the Solarium Cafe, which is my secret favorite breakfast spot, because a lot of people don't know about it. And it's basically the same as the Windjammer, and it's a lot less busy. So there's a pro tip here from Jackson Jet Setting. Of course, Hooked, being the seafood restaurant, is going to have a cool nautical theme, so you notice a lot of the nauticalness here. I love how the theming of the different restaurants has really started to come to life a lot more as each ship premieres from Royal Caribbean. Definitely noticing a lot of that on board here on Utopia of the Seas, and I'll try and point that out throughout the rest of the video. Quick look at the water slides there, and then Splashaway Bay down below. And so this is going to be the splash area for the kiddos. They're going to have that cool bucket splashing water on them every so often. This is a very popular spot for the kids, of course. It's going to be right next to the water slide entrance, so get your chairs there early if you're the parents. The kids are going to hang out there all day, and it's nice and colorful, really fun, and they have their own area to hang out. Moving along, we're going to check out the last part of this deck that we haven't seen yet. It's going to be the Lime and Coconut Bar on the second floor. This is a newer area, I believe, on Utopia of the Seas. I don't think that this has been built out on the other ships. This area was typically more open and had like a bridge, basically, that you could watch on either side. Some of the competitions going on, like the belly flop competition or sexiest man competition. So the Royal Caribbean probably thought, hey, let's put a fancy bar here, expand Lime and Coconut upstairs, and that's what they did. Obviously a popular bar, it's in the shade, but still near the sun. Those are kind of my favorite types of bars, not getting too roasted in the sun all day. Just not a lounge by the pool person. If you're a lounge by the pool person, let me know in the comments. Then here is the port side pool. So this is going to be a little bit of a different design than the starboard side pool, but same concept. I love the stadium seating here. This is brought over from Wonder of the Seas. And then you're going to have twin whirlpools that are see-through down to deck 15. So that's pretty cool. I think that these were some of my favorite things that I saw on Wonder of the Seas for the first time. It's just a very only on Oasis class ships thing. So that's really fun. And then of course you have your video screen there. That's something that they definitely brought from other ships. Now we're going to visit the most popular spot on any cruise ship, or at least I think so. It's the Windjammer, aka the buffet. You're going to have employees welcoming you into the buffet and reminding you to wash your hands. Washi is the phrase that you're going to hear throughout the ship here. And so yeah, you have a lot of hand washing stations as you walk into the main buffet area, keeping everyone nice and clean. Nice look to the Windjammer on this and Wonder. Really liked just the colors that they used in here. Do think that they need more space. The cruise that I'm on is not full, so that's helpful for the crowding that can happen here during peak meal times. Just something that you can't really avoid if you're going to visit the Windjammer. But it's nice to see the first inaugural buffet for me, because they have lobster on the buffet and other fancy seafoods. That's always cool. But you're going to have a bunch of different buffet stations here normally, all different types of cuisines. You're going to have your staples like burgers and hot dogs and that sort of thing in one corner. And then you're going to have, you know, your seafood, and then you're going to have a kind of a themed island. You're going to have desserts, and then you're going to have areas to go grab some drinks. And then of course there's tons of seating throughout the Windjammer, but this does get quite popular on embarkation day, as well as those peak meal times. So right next to the Windjammer is going to be the Mason Jar, and this is a specialty restaurant. So it's going to be an extra charge on top of your cruise fare. This is going to be Southern food. So they do have a bar area that you can come into to the left here with live music in the evenings. This doesn't require a reservation or anything like that. They have a peanut butter old fashioned. That's a specialty cocktail here. So they do have drinks that you can only get at this bar, which I love. But a really cool theme here, kind of that Southern. You know, they have rocking chairs. They have got the country music that you can't really find throughout the fleet on Royal Caribbean. I love the views. If you want to see a review of the mason jar, you can check out my Wonder of the Seas review video on the channel. And then right outside of Mason Jar is going to be the first new restaurant on board. This is called Spare Tire. So it's going to have grab and go food. We're going to check that out in the review video. A really cool look to this. I like the sink that was hidden in the engine area of this trailer. But yeah, it's a food truck right near the pool. So we're going to check that out in the review video, as I said. Coca-Cola Freestyle machine hidden there in the corner. Those are noted on the app as well. If you get the drink package, you get a cup that you can use for free refills throughout the ship. Here's one last look at the pool there. Now we're walking on the pool deck itself. This is the smoking area. We're walking towards the front of the ship or forward part of the ship. Here's the lower level of lime and coconut. So this is going to have the same menu as upstairs and the other side of the deck. There's going to be a towel station over here to the right. Just know you got to scan your key card and then they're going to charge you $25 a towel if you don't return it. So just keep that in mind. Here's that beach pool again. Really great view here. Lots of space to spread out on these Oasis class ships if you want to get sun or jump in the pool. Does a really good job of spreading people out. Now, when these ships are completely full, it can get pretty packed here at peak times in the middle of the day. We had good sunny weather here in Port Canaveral, but the ship itself, this was shot a little bit earlier in the day. Moving on to probably my favorite part of the ship here, this is the solarium. So the solarium to the right has the cantilevered whirlpool. This is so cool. I love how it hangs off the side of the ship. It's got a glass wall, so you can actually see out of the side of the ship. It's a little disorienting if you're afraid of heights, but they do have some screens in there as well. You can watch your sports from the hot tub. Great place to relax after a day in port. But this area is going to be climate controlled, so it's fully enclosed like Wonder of the Seas, so I'm glad that they brought that over because on a rainy day you could still use the pools, you can still get a little bit of sun if it's like maybe a little windy outside or maybe it's cold. It's really, really nice in here. The solarium bar is going to be located above the solarium pool, and then you're going to have the chef's table and the solarium bistro here as the restaurant, and it's included for breakfast and lunch in your cruise fare. Excuse me, just breakfast, and then dinner is going to be an a la carte charge. Now this does spread down into deck 14. There's a smaller pool just in the forward part of the ship, and this is one of my favorite areas on other ships that has been taken over by the solarium suite. These were wings that went outside and you could get a really good bridge view. That is no longer. They've made staterooms on either side, but it is still a great spot to hang out here, so I highly recommend checking out the solarium on your cruise on Utopia of the Seas. Outside the solarium is the view bar. So this took the place of one of the cantilevered whirlpools. That's another bar experience that you can have on board. Over here is where the entrance and exit to the slides is going to be. And then a lot more deck chairs, as you can see. And then the lower level of Splashway Bay. So this is where you'd enter Splashway Bay if you were a kid or a parent chasing your little one. One thing I noticed here is going to be Sprinkles has moved to more right in the path that you walk on versus sort of in the center. I noticed that on some of the ships. It's kind of hidden away, so they added this right here. And then here's another look at the portside pool. So now we're going to go check out deck 14, which you've already seen the solarium, and now we're going to check out the Adventure Ocean, which is made for the little ones. Most of Adventure Ocean is going to be included in the cruise fare, so you can drop your kids off during the day. They're going to have tons of activities. Later at night, I think there is some sort of charge, but as you walk in here, you can see Escape You. Now, this is going to be open to everyone. It's an extra charge. It was $30 on my sailing, so I'm going to try that out a little bit later in the cruise. So you're going to have the arena and the hangout. This is for the kids that aren't quite teenagers yet, but they do have lots of video games in here, lots of interactive stuff. Really a lot of fun for them. I liked how bright these areas were for them. This is definitely the best of the Oasis class Adventure Oceans that I've seen, and you would probably expect that given that this is the newest one. Little restroom area in the back there. And then you have some other ages that are divided up on the left side. Now, some of these were still seemed like under construction. Normally they have some sort of like science lab going on to the right there, but that was under construction still. You have AO Babies, which is the nursery. Typically that has an extra charge to it. And then the play place for the younger kids. Let off some steam indoors. Really nice theme here. See the waves on the carpet in the boat. AO Theater was under construction still, it seemed like. And then a fun play area with a mock cafe, mock camper, a little bookstore. So if you have kids, they're gonna have a lot of fun here. And then one thing I noticed was a cool screen that had a game that you could scan your SeaPass card and play and collect keys. So that's something new to me at least, not sure if it's brand new. And then moving on to deck 12 is going to be the entrance to Giovanni's Italian Kitchen and Wine Bar. So this has moved. This is a new location taking over the Wonderland spot from Wonder of the Seas as well as Symphony of the Seas. So this is really cool. A brand new concept for Giovanni's. Same menu, but gonna have their wine bar concept that was on Wonder of the Seas that took over Vintages. It's going to be on the upper floor here where you check in, and you're going to descend down the stairs and have some dining, and they're actually going to have some alfresco dining, which is really amazing and not something that they had with the Wonderland concept. I love this little photo spot right here, and there are restrooms right to the right there. I believe that is new. I don't remember there being any restrooms in Wonderland, but I could be wrong, but I never found those. Just really love the views over the boardwalk there. Heading back upstairs, I loved the little seating area that I found. And then descending down, so there's a few decks that have only staterooms. We're going to make our way down to deck 9 where the music hall is. I did like how Royal Caribbean listened to this channel and actually put some good cruise ship art in the stairwells. I know that they don't actually watch this, but there is some really good art on the stairwells. I think sometimes they just make some really interesting choices on these cruise ships. So I'm glad to see that there's some good art here on board Utopia of the Seas. So the upper floor of Music Hall has the pool table, which is great. Lots of seating. This is a big hub of activity, lots of live music, lots of game shows going on here throughout the cruises. These windows do open up and you can see the boardwalk beyond, but the curtains were closed during my tour. Down below, it seems like they made a few different changes. I believe that there were 2 different stairwells here on other ships, so there's just one on this side, probably to open up more seating because this place does get busy, so that's really good to see. And they kept the bar over here to the right, which is great. So this leaves us on deck 8, which is going to have Central Park. So Central Park has definitely made some changes on board Utopia of the Seas. So we're going to make our way out here. The first part is going to be pretty similar to other Oasis class ships if you've been on those. Of course, they switch out some of the art. The plants are all real like they are on other Oasis class ships. And then you have 150 Central Park, which is a very popular restaurant here on other ships. I really do love 150 Central Park, love their menu. And then you got Chops Grille on the opposite side. So we're going to check out inside each of these restaurants just to show you a few of the changes. Overall, not too many differences here within 150 Central Park. Switching up some of the color schemes. They have some of the interesting chairs I've seen on other ships as well. And then, of course, you have the Rising Tide bar in between. And so that goes between the Royal Promenade and here. Really a fun experience if you've never done it. It's a moving bar. So it is an elevator. It takes about 5 minutes for the ride, and it goes about every 15 minutes up and down. So now you can see the patio seating for Chops Grille. We're going to walk inside and check it out. Chops Grille is going to be the traditional steakhouse on board, even though a lot of the specialty restaurants are going to have some sort of steak on their menu. This is going to have many options of steaks. I do recommend making a reservation here if you never have dined here. Menu is the same across the different ships, but they do have a delicious menu. The mushroom soup being one of my favorite dishes on Earth. So definitely have that if you have never tried it. So I do like the kind of upscale feel here. A few different changes I'm noticing, but overall pretty similar Chops Grille feel, which is great. Everyone loves Chops. Walking on in the middle here, you're going to have the Trellis Bar. A popular spot. You can get really herbal drinks, really fresh drinks. It's well themed to the environment because you have some real plants around you. Windows looking down into the Royal Promenade, giving some natural light into the Royal Promenade. Then you have those neighborhood balconies there, so this is going to be one of the cheaper balconies that you can get on board because they don't actually have a sea view. Park Cafe is going to be another included restaurant on board. Serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They have a make your own salad bar during the day. They have the roast beef sandwich, which is fantastic. Bagel bar in the morning. This is a good spot. This will be your first look in this video with the new drink dispensers. So this is going to be easier for crew to change in and out. They're all touchless. I like the sleek look to them. So up until now, things have been pretty similar. A few small changes, but outside across the way from Park Cafe is when things get way different. So you're going to have Izumi over there. This is the first time that Izumi has been in the Central Park. They added a new concept here. It's called Izumi in the Park. It's a to-go window, which is really cool. We'll check that out in just a second. But look how big Izumi is on this ship. It is massive. And they have several different concepts in here. So they have the sushi bar, they have the hibachi, and then you have the omakase. So I'm excited to try out the omakase on this cruise. And then Izumi in the Park here is going to be the to-go window. And you can get sushi to go, obviously not included in your cruise package. You have a few different drinks as well, so I'm really excited to try that out on my cruise. Really nice outdoor seating here for Izumi. And I think this makes a lot of sense because Izumi is always popular on every ship that I've ever been on, so it's awesome that they dedicate a lot of space to it. Really love all the artwork in here. Going for that rhino feel on this ship. Noticed on Wonder they had a lot of astronauts. Here they have a lot of silver monkeys. Really a great view of Royal Promenade. We're gonna check that out in just a sec. We're gonna start our tour of Deck 6 aft because forward is gonna be the spa, but we have a lot to explore here in the aft section. This is kind of a hard deck to navigate. If you wanted to walk all the way through, you have to go through the stateroom areas to get to the front. But over the left here is going to be the schooner bar. This is going to be a big spot for trivia, a really popular spot. The Crown and Anchor Society desk is also here, the loyalty desk. So if you have any questions for the loyalty desk, you can stop by there. Not my favorite bar on Oasis class ships, but one of my favorite bars on other ships. Don't love the design of this place, though. I do love that they have added a few more chairs. It seems like they've added a few more curvy tables because people like to play trivia and they like to write stuff down. So they added that. So they are trying to iterate a little bit, fit a few more people in these spaces, make better use of it. Across the way is going to be the shore excursion desk and Focus. And Focus did make a few changes. I believe that on some ships, Oasis class ships, there is a stairwell that comes down to the Royal Promenade right here. But instead they've added a photo studio. So that's cool to see. So you can see a little peek there at the end of the hallway. And that dead ends there. We'll double back and head into the boardwalk. Love the artwork in each of the atriums on this ship, though. We're going to check out both. Kind of a lampshade thing going on, but it is spectacular in here. The boardwalk's going to be a big hub of activity. Not much has really changed on the boardwalk compared to my other sailings on other Oasis class ships. You're going to have playmakers, and you're going to have Johnny Rockets. You're going to have the doghouse. You're going to have some arcade games. Of course, the carousel and the Ultimate Abyss. The Ultimate Abyss has been lengthened a little bit, so that's a little bit new. New dry slide, the longest dry slide at sea. And then you're going to have your kid shop and It's Sugar, which is going to have your upscale ice cream as well as candy, of course. And at the end of the boardwalk is going to be the Aqua Theater. This is where the diving shows are going to be. And then they also have the twin rock climbing walls that are found on every Oasis class ship, and they're just absolutely so much fun. So definitely experience that if you've never done it on a Royal Caribbean ship. This is a classic activity. And now let's check out the Vitality at Sea Spa. So one thing I definitely noticed is that they got rid of the cafe over to the right. This was a secret area I loved because you can get some smoothies and specialty coffees without as long of a line on the Royal Promenade, so it's sad to see that go. But lots of different treatments here, and typically I walk through. It's a pretty similar spa, but they did have some changes. I liked the kind of dry bar feel to the salon over here. Definitely a lot newer feeling than some of the other salons that I've seen on Oasis class ships. You descend downstairs on what is now enclosed stairs. Sometimes those glass stairs were kind of hard to walk down here, so they must have listened to some customer feedback here. You have a pretty typical spa, definitely some refreshed colors, felt nice and new, of course, it being a new ship. Everyone's favorite place on a cruise, the gym. Gym is pretty much how you're going to find it on other Oasis class ships. Really nice feel in here. If you descend down there, you're going to reach the jogging track, which is going to be on deck 5, and that's where we'll start our tour. So in the forward part of deck 5 is going to be the Royal Theater. This is going to be the top floor of the Royal Theater, extends down to deck 4. Definitely don't miss that. Make your reservations in advance. Entertainment place is going to be located on deck 4. We'll check that out right after this. But first we're going to walk down the promenade. Of course, you got a Starbucks on board. This is a massive ship. People want their Starbucks. So you can have Starbucks exactly how you have it on land. That is not included in the drink package. Spotlight karaoke, used for a lot of game shows as well as karaoke in the evenings. Seems like they do have some karaoke booths over there to the right. Bar is over to the left. And then a small stage. So this is oriented similar to how Wonder of the Seas has it. They got rid of the DJ booth, which used to be right there. I saw that on Symphony of the Seas. Walk over across the street to Boleros, which is the Latin bar. They have great mojitos in here, good Latin dancing throughout the evenings. Big, big place to hang out. Now we were in port shooting this video, but normally I don't walk through the shops in these videos, but I can describe them to you. So across the way you have the shop, which is going to have all of your Royal Caribbean gear. You're going to have your Messi jerseys now that Royal Caribbean is a sponsor of the Miami MLS team. So that's what you're going to find in there. Ship models, that sort of thing. Lots of jewelry shops on this street as well. It kind of spills out in the street at times during sale periods, which are pretty much every evening. Port merchants is going to have your liquor, cigarettes. Each Oasis class ship has a special piece of artwork, and so they chose the conch shell here, very appropriate as it's sailing to the Bahamas. Bell and Barley is the pub on board. Great selection of beers here. Really amazing pub. They do some live music in here. Sometimes they do trivia on certain ships. Really kind of a great space to hang out. Then you have Sorrento's, of course, classic Sorrento's, free pizza, open super late night, always available for people. Different toppings here, switched out throughout the cruise. You got your Coke freestyle machines in here as well. Moving out of Sorrento's and down the street a little bit more, we have a few more shops. So they have an accessory shop. This is going to be kind of your, cheaper jewelry, I would say. Have an awesome Utopia sign up for the inaugural that I'm on. They have a cool vintage Pontiac right there. I think it's from the 40s. Cafe Promenade, no changes there. It's going to have your specialty coffees that are still Starbucks, but not like fully Starbucks branded. Those are included in the drink package. Bottom floor of the Rising Tide here. The next cruise desk beyond, so you can book your next cruise on board and get some perks. You got the Effie Jewelry Store. And then probably the biggest change for me on board is getting rid of the Bionic bar, which is, I think, a complete waste of space, and adding in a tiki bar, the Pesky Parrot. Big tiki drink fan. Love the vibe of this place. I think they knocked it out of the park. They have cool glasses that you can buy as a souvenir. There's a long line for those on the inaugural because they had some handmade ones. So I snagged one of those, happy to. But yeah, this is going to have your tropical drinks. This is going to be a very popular spot, I guarantee it. Walking back out of there, you have guest services. Often a long line there, so definitely choose some off hours. It's open 24/7 to go visit that. Want to note the parrots on the ceiling, which is great, extends out the bar. And then they have some cool tikis outside, so really a cool vibe in there. Port and shopping desk and the Voom internet desk right here as you walk out, and then Regalia, which is going to be the watch shop. The aft part of Deck 5 is going to have the top floor of the main dining room, but I'm going to show you the bottom floor because it's kind of the most impressive view. So there's 3 levels, so you can enter on 3, 4, or 5. Beautiful dining room though, and it's amazing how many people they can serve food. It's just really worth doing a behind the scenes tour if you've never done it on a cruise ship. Really amazing stuff. So now Deck 4 is going to have the Casino Royale. So this is the same design that they had on Wonder of the Seas. This is one of my favorite casinos that I've seen on any ship. I feel like the filtration system is really good, so it gets all the smoke out of there. They have a bar. They actually have a small buffet in here that they put in food from time to time. That was kind of left over from when Wonder of the Seas was going to sail in Asia, but they brought it for Utopia of the Seas as well. So that's great to see. So plenty of your favorite machines in here. One thing I definitely noticed is that there's only one entrance and exit on this side of the Casino Royale, which is normally there's going to be 2 that you can avoid the Park West gallery, but you can't do that on this ship. Studio B is going to be the ice skating arena. This is going to be a hub of activity. One of the best things on board is definitely the ice skating shows, so definitely check those out. Squeezing through here to check out the ice skating rink. No real changes here, besides I don't think that they have a bar in here anymore, which I think some ships do have. And that pathway was taken up by the box office, so there is a space for them to operate in there, which I think is great. Cool little cat design in here. This is the attic, so this is going to be the comedy performance center. And then you have the Crown Lounge right there. The Crown Lounge is going to be the Diamond Lounge. here is inside the attic. There's lots of comedy going on all day, every day in here. And then there is a non-smoking room for Casino Royale located right here. And then it has a small little cage and a few gaming tables. Some cool artwork. On Wonder, this was like a flamingo, I think. So now they've kind of gone with a silver design here. Now we'll check out the bottom floor of the Royal Theater before I show you what is the star of the show here on board Utopia of the Seas, and it is the Royal Railway. This is a brand new specialty restaurant. So there's a themed entrance area to the Utopia station. There's 2 rail cars in here, so these can host 2 different sets of diners. There's a whole show involved. Fortunately, it was very busy to book on the inaugural sailing, so I won't get a chance to dine in here, but I did get a chance to walk through and tour it. It just looks amazing in here. And so you have a full experience, you have specialty drinks, you have a story, of course, and they're going to be able to switch out the story on different cruises, but for now it's a Wild West storyline. And so I thought that the screens did a really good job of mimicking yourself being on a train, on a cruise ship. This is going to be a very popular offering for sure. Specialty menus here, which is really cool. Had a peek at that. But that is the Royal Railway. And then down on deck 3 is going to be the conference center. And that's the boring end to the video.